Welcome back to the Krown crypto channel. Wishing you a happy daily start to Slice Tuesday morning here as we get prepared for the continuation, my friends. The continuation indeed. Yesterday we were looking at a bit of a short-term time frame move to the downside based off of the Jewel Light setup on the 4-hour time frame on CME. That obviously hit Bitcoin down to about 29,000 bucks. So where does that lead us into for today? And what sort of setups, if any, are staring us right in the face? Well, there is definitely one. Anyways, other than that, I want to once again let you know that you can still get the Jewel Light for free for the first 30 days if you follow the directions in the link in the description below. It'll also even give you the 0% on maker fees for derivative contract orders on the good old exchange Bybit. All right, sweet. Let's just jump right into it and start off right on over here with the new setup that we are getting right in front of our faces. So, or should we go over yesterday's setup? Well, yesterday's setup already hit. We were looking for a move somewhere down around about low $29,000, and that has obviously already happened. So in this case, there is a setup on the HPDR indicator that is starting to rear its lovely head. And in this case, we can see that there are several closures below this blue range low right here. That's a 50% of historical returns range lows on the HPDR indicator. That then, as always, initiates a secondary condition where we look for a decrease in the volatility moving average represented by the BBWP indicator, which happens officially right here alongside that closure outside the blue range lows. Anyways, I've gone ahead and programmed this into into the strategy backtester already. So I'll just put it on the charts right there. Let me blow it up a little bit more so that you can actually see, and let me just double check that you can actually see it. Okay, yes, good visual stuff on a video would be, fucking wise, right? Anyways, in this case, out of 315 tested iterations, there was almost a 74% strike rate of a nice short-term upside move over the course of the next 18 bars on average. Now, when we actually go ahead and look at the list of trades, I'm just curious how far back this goes. Yeah, this goes back to wow. This goes all the way. This goes like years past right there. So a lot of data within this particular one. And then, of course, when we're looking at the actual data, what essentially would this suggest as far as a bounce goes? Well, on the top end, we could see a bounce as much as 4%. On the bottom end, or I shouldn't say bottom end, but, on the lower end, about 2.5 to 3%. So coming off the lows right here, if this does play out, and we'll go over invalidations in a second, 2.5% would put Bitcoin back above 30,000 bucks at 30,150. That, not so important. We'll come back to that number later. Bitcoin goes for about a 4% move. However, this one very, 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 very important. That'd put Bitcoin at the top end of the 50% range highs right here, and would put Bitcoin back somewhere around about 30,500. Keep that number in the back of your mind's eye because it will pop back up a little bit later. But yes, for right now, so far so good. Bitcoin bouncing off the bottom side of that range after yesterday's short-term time frame setup was hit. So, at the end of the day, as always, I want to be very, 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 very clear in saying whenever we're going over these setups that I post here on YouTube or Twitter or whatever, we're talking about statistics. And while they have been working out a lot, very consistently for a long time now, it's not always gonna be like that. And my fear is that someone's gonna hear this and be like, what? Okay, 4% move to the upside? I'm in, all in, 100x. Get rid of the child's college fund. Fuck them. They don't need education. They need Bitcoins. Well, maybe you do need Bitcoins. Maybe education isn't all that great. But I would still say 74% strike rate is not the same thing as 100% strike rate. So just a casual reminder of that truth. Anyways, yes. So as of right now, this one is this one is active, as the strategy tester would say. We can see it right there, obviously. So what would be the invalidation for this one? What essentially would not just invalidate the current upside setup and set up for a highly probable move to the downside, probably somewhere to the mid to low $28,000 region. Well, in this case, that would be with a 2-hour closure below about 29,200, or you could even just make it 29,000 even to make it nice and round and even there. But ultimately, that's a big area to be aware of. As long as Bitcoin's above there on a closing basis, upside in the short term, more likely, potentially even as much as 30,500 in the next 18 bars, which 18 bars times 2 would be 36. So that would be like a day and a half, basically, from the posting of this video. A little bit less than that, to be fair. But again, these are averages, obviously, going off the numbers right here. So putting this back down and now going into the next chart, I do want to go over stochastic momentum on the lower term time frame, see if this is kind of in unison with this particular setup going on. And yes, what do you know? Hourly time frame is actually showing severe upside right here as long as Bitcoin's above 29,250. Hey, that number just popped up yet again now, didn't it? 4-hour time frame also going to be having a fresh cross the upside from the extreme lows right here. I should also add, as long as Bitcoin remains above 29,400 on CME on this next closing period, which is happening in 38 minutes. So far, so good right there as well. 6-hour time frame is also going to have a chance to pop back up from the extreme lows right here. Would need to close, however, above 29,850. So getting higher right there, obviously. 12-hour time frame still heavy down below 30,750, and daily time frame also heavy down as long as Bitcoin's below 30,850. So the higher term time frame still working against the lower term time frame momentum. So in this case, if Bitcoin does pop back up, let's say into the mid 30,000, like 30,004, 30,005 or so, it doesn't really mean too much until the daily really starts closing above 30,500, as that would start to likely put the daily stochastic in a position where it could cross the upside. Obviously, this one would still be below on CME at 30,850, but coming into tonight's closure, that number will naturally come down. The daily is a little bit closer in this case, about $100 above that number. But again, we expect that number to come down naturally. So if Bitcoin were to pop back up there today before closure, or maybe even tomorrow, that's at the point where, hey, we're probably going to be looking for continuation to new highs in this rally. Also of note right here, the 4-hour time frame on CME is showing a little bit of potential hidden bullish divergence between this point, this low that we saw on April 10th, and this potential low that Bitcoin would be putting in right here, which would be confirmed again coming back above at least 30,000 bucks, which would have natural short-term targets back up towards 30,600, to 30,700 or so. You can start to see how the dominoes, affect each other going onwards and forwards from here. By the same token, if Bitcoin does again close below the current low, about 39,000, what is it on CME? 29,150 on a closing basis, in this case a 4-hour time frame, I'd probably be looking for Bitcoin to come all the way down to low 28, somewhere around this nice little gap fill right here, coming in from that 7th of April Friday closure. So yeah, that put Bitcoin about $1,500 lower than where we're currently at right now. And of course, matching that up with the HPDR over here, yeah, we do kind of see the same thing, right? It's a little bit lower on spot, obviously, as you naturally would get, because there is this premium on CME futures, obviously, relative to spot price action. But ultimately, same sort of thing right here, as we do start to slowly see the green dildo creep upwards ever so slightly, just growing little pixel by pixel. Lovely, ever so fucking lovely. Anyways, all right, so now we've gone through that. How deep into this video are we? About 8 minutes. Maybe I'll go over maybe I'll go over the weekly here yet again. Based off of the weekly, just looking at, everything on the higher term time frames in a more generic fashion, I still do think that Bitcoin has a legitimate chance to continue on the rally a little bit more from where we're currently at. When we look at the Gaussian channel, you can see that Bitcoin basically tested the top side of it. It does kind of curl back down around. So if we are going to see this rally continue, we do expect it to probably put in a low right here. We wouldn't really expect it to break below 29,000 bucks, below 29. That's when you start to have, at least I would have to start to call into question, that the next time it might be coming from here. But if you've been following along on the long-term analysis, what the narrative of this channel has generally been major move to the upside since like December, January, basically. And now we're kind of looking at it like, hey, this move that we're looking at to the upside, probably the great majority of it's already played out. Maybe Bitcoin gets another push, maybe around like 32, 33. I think like best case scenario would be like 40,000 bucks or low 40,000s. And maybe kind of like the Goldilocks in the middle would be about 36,000 bucks. But ultimately, I do think that this rally's power is waning here. We're probably setting up for a general market pullback, maybe in like late May, something like that would kind of make sense. So these next couple of weeks here are pretty damn paramount. If Bitcoin is going to continue, we do expect to kind of continue from here. Should denote that the weekly jewel is actually still showing its upside curvature supported by DMI. So, that one is still active. It's been pretty damn powerful so far. So, if it does have one more push, well, that would probably be your mid 30s, if I had to guess. And by the same token, we would start to say that this does look like a major trap on the higher term timeframes if Bitcoin really starts to come back down below about $27,000. So you can, again, hopefully all the puzzle pieces are starting to work together. The lower term timeframes, again, short term bouncy bounce. And then the real question is, does Bitcoin reclaim 30,500 or not? If it does, then we can extend that bounce to probably a new high, somewhere around the next range high on the HPDR indicator over here, which would be about 31,700 or so. So, getting close to 32 right there. But well, I guess only time will tell if that does indeed happen. And by the same token, below the current low on a closing basis, we could even just make it 29,100. Just kind of easy to remember right there. At that point, yeah, I would be looking for Bitcoin to go for the lower gap fill, somewhere at the low $28,000 territory. Yeah, there'll probably be bounces along the way, but again, I'd be looking for Bitcoin to kind of settle somewhere down around there and then try for another bounce and then come back to it after that. All right, sweet. So that's going to do it for today. As always, I want to be wishing you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.